Hi, it's Paulette and welcome to my channel. I had wanted to do a video today, and it's a little bit of a different setup than what I typically do, but I wanted to get this out. And so I'm going to be reading a lot, and so you might just want to listen to me versus look at me because I might not be looking at the camera. So today is I just trying to get this set up. I've encountered some, I guess, if you want to call them setbacks or redirections, and I found it to be very interesting. And I found some other things that I didn't see before. So today is December 20th, 2024, and that turns out to be the number 13. This is my 13th video. And for some coincidence, through all my diversion, I realized I started this at 3:10 in the afternoon. So if you add 10 and 3 together, that's 13. So yeah, that's pretty coincidental, I think. But when you start seeing things from a higher perspective, you see things differently than you see others. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, is seeing things from a higher perspective. So what prompted me by doing this was a conversation I had yesterday. But I did want to talk to you about the number 13, since I kind of like to talk about the number because I think it has meaning. Not to say that I know the definite meaning, but if I don't understand it now, hopefully I understand it later. So the moon travels 13 degrees across the sky each day. There's 13 weeks in each of the 4 seasons. There's 13 lunar menstrual cycles each year. 13 represents the end of a cycle and rebirth for a new cycle. 13 weeks between equinoxes and solstices. 13 is a power number in nature and in spirit. 13 is the only teen number in the Fibonacci sequence. In religion, Jesus had 12 disciples, making 13 in total. Buddha had 13 disciples. Islam has a prophet, and excuse me if I say this wrong, but imams and 12 imams, yeah, making 13. We have 13 chakras, not 7. 13 is a prime number, incorruptible in nature. 13 major joints are in your body, and there's 12 constellations around our sun, making that 13. And then there's 13, it says 13 is the most powerful number in observable nature. Not saying that I know what all these mean, but someone came up with all this information, and I guess if you want to do your further research on it, you can. But I just found that to be interesting. They had found 13 things with 13. So, like I said, I wanted to talk about seeing things from a higher perspective. So when you see things from a higher perspective, you're seeing it from a higher light. And when you see things from a higher light, you feel lighter, you feel brighter, you feel happier. And when you don't, when you see things from a not brighter side, you see it from the darker side. You feel heavy, you feel sad, um, maybe even feel angry. Um, that's all feeling the lower vibration of things. So I like seeing the magic in things. And it's kind of an awkward video, but I'm just rolling with it. So I'm an out of the box thinker, so I don't think like the average person. Um, you know, I've had many people tell me, "How do you see that?" On various things. Like it could be even paperwork, and I notice something. They're like, "How did you notice that?" It's because I'm not inside the box with everybody else. I don't know. It's natural for me. Some people might have to work at it, and maybe some people will never be outside of the box because um, you have to be open to see things differently. So don't be afraid to be outside of the box. The average person is the one that stays in the box. So I guess I'm used to being basically the outcast. And I guess I never really realized that it was because I don't think like everybody else. I just thought I just didn't mesh with other people because it's hard to find someone that thinks like you. So I wanted to talk about um, seeing the positive and intruding in people's lives. And because I'll share my story with you. So I want to ask you, would a monk intrude on your life? Like, would a monk ask you for something? I don't, maybe some do, I don't know. But I think monks are pretty much self sufficient. Um, they're more in the just going with the flow. Um, that's how I view a monk. So, yeah, I think a monk wouldn't intrude on a person. So, and if they receive something from you that they didn't ask for, or maybe it is something that they wanted, they would be happy they received it, no matter how they received it. So, I wanted to share my story. So, I was talking to my friend yesterday about how this is something so trivial, but it's my example. So my one daughter was going to the Chinese restaurant with her boyfriend. She shared that they were going to go there and get Chinese, and she knows it's the Chinese food that I like. Okay, so she knows this because I talk about it all the time how great it is, and it's only from a grocery store. It's like a food vendor inside this grocery store, but it's out. It's not like in town. It's kind of out of the way. And now that I think about it, I was thinking about Chinese food the other day because I've had a couple times now where I've been thinking about the Chinese food and somehow it magically comes to me. Um, but I didn't ask her to get me any. And so I shared this story with my friend, and I also shared the story with my oldest daughter. And to my surprise, they both acted the same way. And I'm like, is that the norm? The average person? The average person think that way? or they're both the same zodiac sign. So then I'm thinking, okay, is that just how they're astrologically structured, and that's why they think that way? I I I can't tell you. Um, but I'm gonna continue on with my story. So they both said, well, why didn't they? What? Well, first of all, my daughter says, well, why didn't you just ask for some? Why didn't you ask her to get you some? And I'm like, I'm not gonna intrude. And that's why I was sharing the monk story. I wasn't going to intrude on someone else in their life and what they're doing. And my friends thought it was rude that my daughter wouldn't ask me if I wanted some. But it was her and her boyfriend going there. But then my daughter's like, well, it's not like they were on a date. I said, that's not the point. The point was they were going there, and she was just sharing that they were going there. And I secretly had wished, like, oh, it would be nice if I had some Chinese too, because it tastes so good. It's just, I can't tell you. It just tastes good. So they go there and they come back, and they're eating it here. And all of a sudden she comes walking in to where I was at, and she says she had a surprise for me. And I said, what's that? And I see her walking in with the Chinese. And she's like, here. I said, you don't want to have leftovers? And she's like, no. She says, you have it. I said, oh, thank you. So I thought that was so nice that I drew. See, this is how I feel it's magic. I thought it was magical how I said to myself in silence how I wish I would have Chinese food too. I did receive it, and I received it via her. And I find that to be magical. And that's me thinking outside the box. I'm not inside the box with my friends thinking and my daughters thinking about, wow, you should just ask for it. Oh, it's rude. Because that's, to me, that's the not seeing it in the bright light. And yeah, and I can't tell you what would have happened if I wouldn't received it, because I did. I did receive it. And I was sharing my story with joy with my friend, and I was really surprised that she took it as not a good thing when I was seeing it as a magical thing, because I only wished for it. I hoped for it. And it wasn't like a strong wish or, or demand in my mind. It was just a thought like, oh, that would be nice if I had some too. But, and my daughter was saying how she thought that was weird. And I said, it's not. And I said, okay, let me give you a good example of why I don't think you should be asking for things when people say they're going to do something. And so I was giving her an example of someone she works with. Um, they always kind of invite themselves to go with when a group of them are going someplace. And they don't like him inviting himself because he creates a negative time. So they've learned not to share in front of him because they know he's going to invite himself or want to go. And she's trying to tell me that's not the same thing. I said it is the same thing, because if I was to ask for, like, if you share something with me and it's something that I want to, then they're not going to want to share with me. I want to keep it open for you to share whatever you want with me without you thinking I'm going to ask for something. And yeah, that's how I see it. And maybe I'm the only one that sees it that way. I don't know. But your thoughts are energy. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. We are vibrational beings. So, yeah. So when something feels good to you, you feel good. And when someone says something bad to you, your body feels that. And I've kind of experienced that for the last couple of days. But so there was a comment made on a video I was watching, and there's a reason why I didn't make the video until now, because I got 2 new things that I wanted to talk about. Energy lives forever, and so that's why you need to create good energy. So don't put the negative thoughts, the feelings out there, because that's going to stay out there and it's going to attract to someone. And I was watching another video, and it was something I needed to hear. It was continue to be yourself. You are the light. So it was 2:42 when that was said to me. And so 2:42 means believe in yourself and skills and talents and abilities. So work your magic. That's what I wanted to say. I want you to work your magic. And I hope you all have a great Christmas, because, yeah. One other thing I wanted to say is it's been a while since I've done a video. And the last video I did was October 7th. And like I said, today is December 20th. And so I asked Google, how many days has it been since the 7th of October? And she said 74 days. So I was like, oh, well, let me find out what the number 74 represents. So I found that it represents optimistic and affirmative thoughts. And I was like, wow, that relates to what I wanted to talk about. Thinking from a higher perspective. Being an optimist, not a pessimist. And which was funny because probably a few days ago, I decided to decipher the word optimist, because I was watching another video probably, maybe a year or so ago, and it was someone that talks about how you cast spells with your words, because your words mean something. That's why you shouldn't just talk to talk. You should talk to actually have some meaning to it. So I was like, well, I'm not a pro at it, so I was just doing my best. And so I broke it down to opt, and to opt into means it's a range of possibilities. So it's like, okay, so that means me. So the range of possibilities for me. And then mystic, which is the self-surrender, to be beyond, to go beyond the intellect. So to be optimistic is to, oh, my body's tingling, to go out there and surrender and see the magic. And that's why when I said, you are the, I said, I am the magic. Here, hold on. Where did I wrote that down. Oh, so when I said I have magic, a squirrel jumped on my wind chime and outside and just created this whole scene outside. And I was like, wow. I mean, I just said that, not thinking anything of it, but when he made that noise, I was like, wow, I have magic. So, you have magic too. And don't you forget that. I love you all. Have a Merry Christmas.